Here's the question, and we're guessing a little bit because it's got this. Wait a minute, I'm drawing a square there. I want to do a pencil. It's got that square root in the front of it. So I think this function is supposed to be f of x, and excuse my writing, I have to use the mouse. My touch screen is not working right now, equals x plus 10 times square root of 2 minus x. So we have to find where it's asking where it's increasing or decreasing. So we have to find when the first derivative is positive, that will be increasing. And when the first derivative is negative, there it's decreasing. So we have to find the first derivative and set it equal to 0, find the critical points. Right away, I know one critical point. This function, 2 minus x, is under the square root. So if x is bigger than 2, it doesn't exist if x is bigger than 2. So x is less than or equal to 2. So 2 is going to be one of the critical points, but we'll see what happens with it when we take the first derivative. What's the first derivative? F prime x. First derivative. The derivative of x is 1 plus. And this is actually, I'm going to rewrite this part. I'll just circle it and rewrite it so it's easier to deal with in derivatives. Remember, this is 10 times 2 minus x to the 1/2 power. So it's the derivative of the outside times the derivative of the inside. We have to take the chain rule. So the derivative of the inside, the derivative of 2 minus x, derivative of 2 is 0. Derivative of negative x is negative 1. So this is 1 plus negative. Well, I'll get rid of that plus sign and just put 1 minus. And then it's 1 minus 1 times whatever the derivative of the outside is. The derivative of the outside, take the power, multiply it by the constant. 1/2 times 10 is 5. And then subtract 1 from it. So it's 5 times 2 minus x. 1/2 minus 1 is negative 1/2 to the negative 1/2 power. This can be rewritten as 1 minus 5 over the square root of 2 minus x. Because the negative 1/2 power means it's 2 minus x to the 1/2 power in the denominator, and the 1/2 power is square root. So again, now the reminder. If x is greater than 2, or if x is equal to 2 rather, then what's inside this square root is 0, and it's division by 0. So 2 is a critical point. And that's it. The function does not exist beyond 2, but 2 is a critical point. That's where the derivative does not exist. So now we have to take this derivative, first derivative, and set it equal to 0. And in order to do that, let me rewrite 1 as square root of 2 minus x. If I can find where it's equal to 0, that's the other critical points, over square root of 2 minus x. Something over itself is equal to 1. Minus 5 over square root 2 minus x. So that gets rewritten as square root 2 minus x minus 5, all divided by square root of 2 minus x. They're both over the same denominator. All right, so one of the critical points was found. I put 2 minus 5 there, and it should be square root of 2 minus x. One of the critical points is found when the denominator either has a negative under the square root, which is anything bigger than 2, or when the denominator is equal to 0, which is I've got the numerator or the denominator with a negative under the square root, which is when anything is bigger than 2, or when the denominator is 0, which is when x is equal to 2, so 2 is a critical point. When is this thing going to be 0? When the numerator equals 0. So square root 2 minus x minus 5 equals 0. And I'll rewrite this, or I'll add 5 to both sides. Square root 2 minus x equals 5. And then square both sides, get rid of the square root. 2 minus x equals 25. I will subtract 2 from both sides. Negative x equals 23. And multiply both sides by negative 1. X equals negative 23. So that's another critical point. At x is negative 23, the derivative is 0. So now I have some intervals. And let me rewrite this. I need this to be over here. Our critical points are 23 and 2. So the intervals we are going to check out, that's negative 23. Is anything smaller than negative 23? Let's try negative 100. That will be one of our numbers we'll try. If this derivative is positive here, then it's increasing. If it's negative, it's decreasing. Looks like an angry face. If you put an eye there, it could be an angry face or half of an angry face, maybe an angry owl. And then in our interval of negative 23 to 2, we'll use 0 to test. And again, if it's positive, if the first derivative, which is, we set it to 0 here, but I'm just using that first derivative, square root of 2 minus x minus 5 over square root of 2 minus x. That's the first derivative that I'll be plugging these numbers into, negative 100 and 0. So let's put negative 100 in there. 2 minus negative 100 is 2 plus 100 is 102. The square root of 102 is a little bit bigger than 10. Minus 5, that's positive. All I have to worry about is it's positive or negative. So the numerator is positive. The denominator, square root of 2 minus 100 is square root of 2 plus 100, square root of 102, 10 point something. It's positive. So the result there is positive. It's increasing. So however, you can write it x. It's increasing when x is less than negative 23. Or you can write it like this, negative infinity to negative 23. Interval notation. All right, that's when it's increasing. Now let's plug 0 into the derivative, first derivative. And again, the first derivative is, I just want to make it clear. We set it equal to 0 to find the critical points, but that's the first derivative. Square root of 2 minus x minus 5 divided by square root of 2 minus x. So let's plug 0 in there. 2 minus 0 is 2. The square root of 2, work it on your calculator, 1.41 something. Minus 5 is negative, so the numerator is negative. Denominator, square root of 2 minus x. X is 0. Square root of 2 minus 0 is square root of 2. It's 1.4 something. That's positive. So a negative over a positive is a negative. It is decreasing when negative 23 is less than x is less than 2. Or you can put negative 23, interval notation, comma 2, and a curvy bracket on both sides. So there's your answer. It's increasing when x is less than minus 23, or negative infinity, comma negative 23 with curvy brackets. It's decreasing when negative 23 is less than x is less than 2, negative 23, comma 2 in curvy brackets. That's it.